baby. That's what we do.
Yo.
Hey,
welcome everybody to another episode. It's Tuesday. Let's make this quick because I know we're running a little behind. We got Josh backstage. He's got his makeup on. He's ready to go.
Wow.
Sir.
Damn.
Wow. Welcome back,
like
Josh.
Right out the gate?
Listen, we were having a little technical difficulty here, so I was kind of, my clock's a little accelerated.
You gotta disrespect the guests like that, Josh. Don't let them talk to you like that, Josh.
Oh man, it ain't for coach. Come on now. No.
What's going on, man?
I'm pretty. I mean, what can I say?
Yeah, man. Spiffy out here, man. You crazy. We don't have a spiffier guest than Josh. You better pay some respect, my boy.
Listen, I already saw the telecast. I saw him, talking about everything. He was there. I was like, oh, he's wearing the red today. Okay, I see.
Sir, that's burgundy. That's burgundy.
Yeah.
You
I'm sorry.
We're going wine tonight.
Might be.
Wine.
Wine.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
Swag. You don't know about swag. Yeah.
Wow.
Knows what's up.
Josh, I got the XL agave wine. I suggest you try it. It's really nice.
Sounds good. I'm over 21, so we're good.
Hey man,
we're off to a great start.
Hey, so let's jump right into it. Let's get to the elephant in the room. We found out today that Tua's going on the IR. Minimum 4 weeks out. What are your thoughts on that?
To me, it's expected. Look, I think the whole situation is just sad. Being at the game, watching this, and watching his fingers go into that fencing position again, it's just, you feel for Tua. I mean, you realize that this is his third diagnosed concussion, possibly his fourth in 2 years. I mean, we're talking 24 months. That's a lot of brain injury. What I think is most interesting to me, I don't know if you guys felt the same way, the hit didn't look that bad. Like, this was a routine play. His head kind of awkwardly went into DeMar Hamlin's chest because it seemed like Tua got caught in between, going head first for the first down, which he got, or sliding because he's been practicing sliding so much. So he just got caught in the middle, and then the concussion happened when he slammed his head and hit the ground. But this was kind of like a routine play, and it scares me that the severity of the hit was what it was when it looked like that. That makes me very concerned about his long-term future. It gives me pause. You've heard a lot of people talk about, should he retire? Should he return to play? But that'll be his decision. But to put him on the IR, I think is the right move. You have a month to go figure this out. And it really doesn't matter if he doesn't pass concussion protocol. So that's number one, first and foremost. So we don't know if that's going to be 4 weeks. We don't know if it's going to be a week. It could be 8 weeks. He may never pass concussion protocol. So the Dolphins have been rated the number one team by the NFL Players Association as far as treatment of the players. So I think the team's going to do right by him. We know that Tua is going to go meet with independent neurologists, and they're going to go find the best experts in the field to make the most informed decisions. And look, the reality is it's a business, guys, and there is money attached to this. If Tua is deemed that to medically retire, like he does not pass concussion protocol, he'll collect money. But if the league passes him and Tua decides to retire under his own terms and says, hey, it's not worth the risk, I mean, he's forfeiting over $100 million. And look, when I talked to Merrill Hodge this past week, he's the first player to ever be medically retired by the league due to post-concussion syndrome. That was 1994, so we're talking 30 years ago. And granted, he had 12 concussions over his lifetime. We don't know how many Tua's had. We know that he's had 4 in the last 5 years. But he said, you got to look at your kids. Remember, Tua just got married. He's got 2 little kids. He's 26 years old. And for me, it's you've made $70 million in your career, probably another 10 in endorsement deals or whatever you're doing on the side. That's generational wealth right there. And I know as a player, you want to go out on your own terms, but man, I mean, I'm very curious to see what the doctors say. And, it's one thing to have the doctors medically clear you to say, okay, you're good to play, but it's another to look your wife in the eye and your parents in the eye and say, if I get hit, like, I don't know what's going to happen. So there's a lot to unpack here. but I think the IR was the right move. And then also, you get Tyler Huntley for nothing from the Ravens, which I think was a great move. And you don't have to move anybody on and off the roster. He just takes to a spot. So he's got to be on for a minimum of 3 weeks. So it seems like this is a perfect holdover until the team gets some answers. And then once they get that information, a lot of decisions will have to be made. And then you hope in the interim that the Dolphins win a couple games. And I think realistically, you can win 2 out of 3 games and somehow figure out how to beat the Seahawks, the Titans at home, and then possibly go up on the road and beat the Patriots in New England.
So, just to backtrack a little bit, I don't think, as far as the hit is concerned, I don't think it was so much the contact with Hamlin. I think it's when he fell and he hit the back of his head on the floor.
Yeah, that's what caused the concussion. But like to see his neck kind of like scrunched like that.
Yeah.
And, but then, to have it, I mean, it's just hard to watch. I mean, you just paid this man $200 million. He had the best year of his life. This was the year that the Dolphins were supposed to take this step and finally break the playoff curse. And then here we are, week 2. And I feel like everyone's going, here we go again. And it's just like a curse for this team. And then all of a sudden, we hear a report comes out that Stephen Ross is trying to sell 15% of the team. And it's more so because the rules changed in the NFL where they're allowing private equity firms to buy up to 10%. So 10% would be a private equity firm. But man, I mean, this is the year Dolphins fans were waiting for. Like this was supposed to be it. And here we have a huge hurdle at the start of the season. And, we don't know. We don't know if Tua's going to ever play again. And a lot of questions have to be answered. And you would hate to see him throw for 3 interceptions in the first half, arguably play his worst half of football as a pro, and have that be the way that he goes out. Like that would be, as a player, that would make me want to come back to try to redeem myself. Correct. I would not want to hang things up and go out like that.
Go ahead, Chad.
So, earlier you alluded to the Dolphins bringing in Huntley. McDaniel, we know, alluded to the fact that Skylar Thompson probably will get the nod. We know this playbook's pretty complex, so we don't expect Huntley to get in right away and probably, have full command. So what is your expectations for the quarterback room going forward while Tua's on the IR? What do you think the plan is there? And do you think Huntley eventually supplants Skylar Thompson in a week or two?
You really hope that he doesn't. Like best case scenario, Skylar Thompson balls out and he's the guy. Remember, Tim Boyle is also there. He's got experience, and he's more of that pocket passer, more similar to Skylar. But what Huntley brings you is a completely different dimension. We saw what he did in 2022, filling in for Lamar Jackson. I mean, he's a dual threat QB. He made the Pro Bowl that year. But Skylar is the guy. He's been there for 3 years. He played in that playoff game in Buffalo, almost went up there and beat the Bills. He was just a couple plays away from winning a playoff game. And, you don't want to go to Huntley. It's a great option. It's a great stopgap because you hope in 3 weeks that you have some more answers from Tua. But we'll see what happens. And I think the bigger question is this offensive line. Teron Armstead left that game. I think it's because the game was mainly over and they need to protect him as much as they can. But they paid him again, and he's maybe going to play 10 games this year. It's just the reality of what you're getting in with him. He is a phenomenal player when healthy. He's just got to stay healthy, and he's a huge leader in that locker room. And then you've also got Robert Jones, who was injured in this offensive line. We talk about it every year. So, can Skylar play well with that offensive line in front of him? I think Huntley gives you that different dynamic, and, we'll see how they utilize him. But you still have Jalen Waddle, you still have Tyreek Hill, and you still have Devon Achane. Those are 3 of the most explosive players in the league. Mike McDaniel, this is where you have to shine. You have to figure out how to get these guys the ball. I don't care if it's a short pass. I don't care, what it is. Just get them into space and let them do their thing. And I think Skylar Thompson gives you enough to be able to do that. And if he can't, then I think you would look to Huntley. But again, the hope would be that Skylar's the guy and that, he can play. Because remember, he beat out Mike White. Mike White was the highest paid backup quarterback 2 years ago in that offseason cycle. They gave him a 2-year, $8 million deal. And they basically said, Skylar, you're better than him. Mike, we're saving the money. Bon voyage. I'm actually surprised they didn't take him off of the Bills practice squad and bring him back. I'm sure that phone call was made. But Huntley gives you a different dynamic and maybe a little wildcat. You can even go wildcat with Achane. I mean, there's a ton of options. Mike McDaniel's supposed to be this amazing football mind. We've seen lapses in the coaching. Obviously, there's growing pains, but this is year 3. Year 1's the throwaway. Year 2, you take the step, and year 3, whereas you solidify everything. And they gave him the extension, but the reality is McDaniel's tied to Tua, and Tua's tied to McDaniel. So this is a huge opportunity for Thompson, not only for the Dolphins, but for everybody else watching around the league to see if he can be a guy like an Andy Dalton who's now going to start replacing, Bryce Young in Carolina. So we'll see what happens. The weapons are there. The team should be good enough. And I think realistically, you should go beat Seattle at their place, especially coming off extended rest this week.
So Josh, you spoke a little bit about some of the things we can do to kind of win the game. Is there anything else you feel like the team, both offense and defensively, that they can do to kind of get a win in Seattle? Because the 12th man is tough out there. I know they're not. They certainly look good so far, but it seems it's going to be a tough matchup ahead, especially with Skyler, a different quarterback. So, in your mind, what are other things that we can do to get a game plan?
Yeah. The biggest thing in winning football games in the NFL is the turnover margin. If you have a plus turnover margin, you turn over the other team more than they take the ball away, you give yourself a tremendous opportunity to win the game. I mean, and that basically was the difference in that Bills game. I mean, you took 3 interceptions in the first half, and they got multiple points off of that, including the pick 6. I think it was 17 points off of that. So it was 31-10 was the final, but you take away those 17, it's a different situation. So that's number one. And then you've got to have more from Jalen Ramsey. I mean, you just paid this guy. You made him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history on a per season basis. More than $24 million he's making this year. He's got to play better. He's got to find some continuity with Jordan Poyer. I know that he came in for the veteran minimum, but here's a guy you're expecting more from, quite frankly. So defensively, you're hoping that they take that next step with Anthony Weaver. We knew that there was going to be a hole with Christian being gone, signing the big deal with Oakland, but you've got to stop the run. They've got a couple shifty running backs. I know Geno Smith is from the area, but Geno Smith is not Josh Allen. It's just the reality of what it is. So this is where the defense has to play better. You're hoping for more from Jalen Phillips. You're hoping to see Chop Robinson maybe get in the mix. You spent that first-round pick on him. They were really high on him, so now you want to see him produce. So defensively, this team has to take a step. And then Mike McDaniel, this is where you have to be the guru that everyone says that you are and find ways to put your players in a position to succeed and then just go out and win. I mean, this would be a huge statement. And you want to talk about lifting Tua up and the whole franchise up, you have a statement game and you go beat the Birds in Seattle.
I agree with that.
I'm saying that's what you're supposed to do. If Mike is supposed to be the guru that he is, he wins it. So, in my perspective, the way you win this game, you break it down to meat and potatoes. So, if we're breaking down to meat and potatoes, run the ball, play the stylistic games that we play against the Patriots per se, run the ball. Who's your key guy? Like some of us who say Achane and maybe Jeff Wilson, but who's your key guy outside of Mike McDaniels making the play calls? Who has to be the guy going forward in this offense? Because you don't tell me Skylar Thompson, because Skylar Thompson is going to be the most overrated point guard Jeremy Lin guy going forward. So it can't be him.
Look, I covered the Broncos when they won with Peyton Manning, and I understand that he was Peyton Manning, but it was the worst season that he had. And the reason they won is because they had the best defense in the NFL. And you paid a lot of players on that side of the ball. I understand that they're new, and this team needs to come together, and it's a new defensive coordinator in Anthony Weaver, but you've made a significant investment on that side of the ball. But when it boils down to it, it has to be Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is the best player on your team. I understand that there was off the field, situations that this team was dealing with that was completely out of their control, which is a whole nother, situation. They somehow came back and beat the Jaguars, but that was more the Jaguars collapsing on themselves. And if Javon Holland doesn't punch that ball from Travis Etienne, this team's 0-2 to start the season. So Tyreek's your guy. You've got to find a way to get him the ball, and he has to perform, because when Tyreek gets going, that opens everything up for everybody else. If you're going to say, all right, I'm going to run the ball, I don't know if Teron Armstead's going to play, I don't know if Robert Jones is going to play, what kind of holes are there going to be for Devon Achane? So if Tyreek, and all of a sudden I'm busting out some some play, it's going to open up the middle of the field. You get him going. You've got two guys shading to him. That's going to open up Jonnu Smith. It's going to open up the run game. It's going to find Jalen Waddle. And then if this team can find a third wide receiver, if Braxton Berrios can make a play in the slot, or someone can do something, then it's pick your poison. And that's where this offense can really open things up. And look, Skylar Thompson, he's an NFL quarterback. You're telling me he can't throw a 15-yard out? You're telling me that he can't throw a timing route over the middle? I mean, he's done it for 3 years, so there's nothing different. So to me, Tyreek's the guy, and you hope that Mike McDaniel can scheme up this defense because he was given extension, and that's what was brought in to do. And it's go time. I mean, this is kind of put up or shut up, because if you lose this game and then you lose the Titans at home, I mean, then the question is, do you even bring Tua back if he's healthy? I mean, what do you do then? So I think the season is still in front of this team despite Tua going down, but this is where you need your stars to shine, and Tyreek's the biggest, and it's his time.
Josh, so look, my question is, I know it's still early in the season. We've only had 2 games, but what have you seen? What are the positives and negatives have you seen of Anthony Weaver's defense so far?
It's kind of hard to tell on such a short sample size. I mean, look, you lose Christian Wilkins, which is just he's arguably the best defensive tackle, top 5 definitely in the league. You've seen Zach Sealer take a step. I think that's been positive from him. I think David Long is a very underrated player for what you're paying him. I think he's flashed. You were hoping that Kader Kohu could take a step, and honestly, teams have been picking on him in that nickel package. And, here's a guy that, Nick Needham was kind of playing that nickel role, even converted safety, and that's a guy that they felt that they could let go. So Kader's kind of been the weak spot. You hope that Fuller can flash. Again, he was a big offseason acquisition. Those are the guys that you're hoping that they can do a little bit more. I think Calais, obviously everybody saw him bring down Trevor Lawrence the first play of the season, but, he kind of disappeared, and they let James Cook run all over the yard at Hard Rock, which was an amazing performance by him. But I think that was more of the Dolphins missing assignments and not finding their gaps than him really doing anything amazing. Not trying to take anything away from him, but mistakes and communication, and those are the negatives. The positives, Javon Holland, which may be a negative, you're gonna have to pay this guy. I mean, he is worth the blank check at this point in the safety position. He's worth every dollar someone will give him, and he's gonna have so many offers. It's just a question of can the Dolphins match? I think he's been a real bright spot on this team. And then, you're hoping for some continuity in the offensive line. You hear General Manager Chris Greer, we love our offensive line. We believe in it. We have enough. And then here we are. After every single game, we're talking about it. So to me, those are where this team's at. And then you hope that Raheem Mostert, I think he was really missed in game 2. I think he just brings something different. Remember, he led this team in touchdowns last season, setting that single season franchise record. But you're just hoping for somebody to flash other than Tyreek, other than Jalen Waddle. And if you do that, you just need that third guy. And the question is, who's that third guy? And, it was Devon Achane. I mean, he's been a beast. I mean, I think he's got more than 50 touches. I think he's approaching 50 touches in 2 games. I mean, he's getting a lot of work. So he's someone that you need to continue to do that. And then Alec Ingold, Pro Bowler last year, he's been up and down. He's had a couple great first down runs, but his blocking, he's told me he's just been missing blocks. So I think this team really hasn't put it together yet. And, you hope that they can put it together, because they're going to need everybody with Tua down. But again, it starts with Tyreek. That's at least what I've seen from the first 2 games. And I stopped kind of watching. I hate to be honest. I was doing all the Tua stuff in the fourth quarter. Once he got hurt, I missed the whole fourth quarter. So I got to go back and watch. But I mean, man, you got some dogs on this team. You got some players, and you got first round picks. Where's Chop Robinson? I want to see him. Jalen Phillips was amazing the first game, playing 34 snaps. He was on a snap count. Now he's good. This is where your guys need to play. And I think we'll learn a lot about this team this week. I think this is a very telling week, even though it's week 3, because you're going to find out who your players are. And I think with Tua being out, it's going to shine the spotlight on them a little bit more.
So, Josh, you were alluding to the importance of the defense needing to step up and carrying, the team through this, tough period without Tua. We know over the next 4 games, we have Geno Smith and the Seahawks, Will Levis and the Titans on Monday night. You have Jacoby Brissett and the Patriots. And then you have Anthony Richardson and the Colts. So those are 4 games that you'll have without Tua with the bye week in between. I believe 3 of the 4 games on the road. Realistically, I think best case scenario is probably 2-2, and you put yourself in position to be 3-3 with hopefully Tua coming back after IR. How realistic do you think it is for Miami to pull something like that off? Do you think they can get a couple wins?
I think they should. I mean, I think the roster is definitely good enough. I mean, you mentioned Anthony Richardson, that game that's on the road at Indy. Green Bay just beat them without Jordan Love. So I think that's a very winnable game. And I think Indy took Houston, who I think is one of the best teams in the NFL this year. I mean, they were right there with them week 1. So, but I mean, look, if you break this thing down, Seattle, I think, is a winnable game. The Seahawks are favored by 5 points. You're getting 3 points because it's a home contest, and then there's 2 points of extra juice there that Vegas thinks that Seattle can win this. But I think if you win this first game, I think the confidence of this team and the belief in Skylar, this team feels like we have something again. If you lose this game, then you've really got to figure it out Monday night against the Titans. I don't know what the situation is going to be with Hopkins and his injury, but I mean, that's a very winnable game. I mean, realistically, just you look at the rosters, the Dolphins roster is significantly better than the Titans roster. So to me, regardless of what happens in Seattle, I think you beat the Titans at home. And then with the Patriots, I think that's a very, very winnable game as well. And I know that they, upset the Bengals. Everyone was freaking out about that. But, again, the roster on the Dolphins is better. Can you execute and can you stay healthy? And then the Indy game will be really interesting, just kind of depending on how, things shake out with them over the next couple of weeks. Michael Pittman Jr., I'm a huge fan of. They just haven't found him. I'm curious to see, what they're going to do there. Obviously, they've got a great running back there. But yeah, 2-2, very realistic. I think you could almost go 3-1 would be optimistic. And then if you end up 1-3, then it's, do you even bring Tua back? And I believe if you don't bring him back for the Cardinals game, which is at home, then I think it's the Bills on the road and then on the road at the Rams for Monday Night Football. So we may see Tua for an extended period of time, but that's if and only if he passes that concussion protocol. So, yeah, and you just hope that Skylar can give you something. But again, you beat out Mike White. It says that you like this guy. So, I think this is his audition to see if he can be a legitimate quarterback in this league. And I mean, look at Brock Purdy, what he's done in San Francisco. So this is now his opportunity, both 7-round picks in the same draft. And you forget, Skylar Thompson's older than Tua. So, this is it. This is go time. And let's see if he can perform. And yeah, the 12th man in Seattle is one of the loudest stadiums, especially outdoor stadiums there. And maybe Arrowhead are probably the loudest 2 outdoor stadiums. So we'll see what happens here. But this is, again, a very winnable game, and you're coming off 10 days rest. So we'll see what happens.
All right, Josh, we're going to put you on the spot. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot. Score prediction, man. What you got for Seattle, man? What you feeling?
My gut tells me Seattle wins this game, but my heart tells me this is where the Dolphins win. The turnover is going to determine this game, but I've got Seattle on top. I hate to say it.
Wow.
24-17. I just don't know with Skylar. I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that the defense can get a turnover. And if the Dolphins can win the turnover battle, I think they can win this game 27-24. But they have to get.
Coach, make sure you clip this. Make sure you clip both of them. Both of them.
Clip it and bookmark it.
Yeah. And if we win, you drop the good one, and if we lose, you drop the other good one for Josh. Make sure we make Josh look good.
This is why Vegas makes a lot of money off of people betting. I'm excited to go to practice Wednesday, Thursday, and I'm actually really curious to see what the mood of the team is like. But it's hard on the outside. Tua's the leader of this team, and it's different when it's your quarterback. You can bring up the T.O. That's my quarterback. But I think for the players, they view it differently than the fans because these injuries happen all the time. It's more magnified because it's the quarterback. Obviously, Tua's a much better player than Skylar Thompson. But at the same time, it's a next man up mentality. So I'm just very curious to see what happens. I think this game will be very interesting. It'll be very telling. And I would love to see, this is where Mike McDaniel has to be Mike McDaniel. That first drive, those are all scripted plays. So you have all freaking week to figure out what you're going to do there.
10 days.
Yeah. You're telling, I want points on that opening drive. I don't care if it's a field goal, but to me, there's no excuse to not get 3 points on that opening drive. And if you can score on your opening drive, I think that sets the tone for the entire game. And you give yourself a chance. But you're always going to have a chance when you got freaking Tyreek Hill. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Like, he's that freaking good. And he's that much of a difference maker. So, they should win this game. But it's just, I don't know the team enough. Like, this is a big situation. And I've always found that going to practice and actually seeing how the team practices, it changes how they perform in the game. Warm-ups, you can't tell anything. But Wednesday, Thursday, the focus of this team, you can get a sense of like, okay, we believe in ourselves. And then we'll find out. But yeah, I think there's optimism for the entire team and the fan base if they win, and if they lose, it'll be like, Tua's out. So that's kind of where this team's at, unfortunately. I wish it were different, but here we are. We're all talking about it, giving up our whole lives for this. So
pretty much, yeah.
It's just like one time, just one time.
Just once.
Just one time. I'm giving up quality family time for this. Like, one time, just do it for me. Josh, I have a question for you. It's a lot of important guys that have been missing these last couple games, and then now we had the whole injury from the last game. Is there any update to who might be available or who's promising to play this Sunday? If you can tell us anything.
Yeah, so Raheem Mostert's week to week, and I last spoke to him at the game, and then they had a nice little party with his wife, so I'm hoping that he can go. We're going to find out Wednesday, Thursday, and then I talked to Drew Rosenhaus. He represents Robert Jones, who left the game early, and he said they don't know how close he's going to be. They're going to have to wait and see until Friday, and it's the same with Jeff Wilson Jr., the running back. He's got the oblique. It's not season. It's not a long term. It's just how much pain can you tolerate. So those are like the kind of big ones. And then Tehran, the man is a warrior. I think that you have to play him. Even if he's hurt, you've got to put him in. Him at 60 or 70% is better than, your backup tackle going in there. But then again, you draft Paul in the second round. So
exactly.
That's why they took him there. So, but to start your first NFL game, first snaps on the road in Seattle, welcome to the league. But you spent a high pick on him. He's the incumbent left tackle. So they have pieces. It's just we don't know what they're going to look like. And Anthony Weaver kind of said this before the first week of the season. It's kind of like Christmas Eve, where you have all of these gifts and like what they are and you know what, but you don't know how they're going to all fit together and unwrap and come together as a team. So I think that this team's still very much in a feel out process. But again, like you go back to last year in that Titans game, everything unraveled with injuries. Like they just simply ran out of bodies. And with the bye week coming so early this year in week 5, I know you're going to get Chubb back. I don't know what he's going to be. You hope that Odell Beckham Jr. can be something. There's a lot of questions, but this team is certainly, do they have enough depth? I think that's every question in the NFL. But that's the latest on the injury front that I have. And then, I think that the key player out of all of this is Teron Armstead. And then number 2 would be Mostert. He just gives you something different than Achane. And he's such an upgrade over Jeff or Jalen Wright, who I thought, showed some promise. But there's such a gap between those two that I think I really would like to see Mostert in, especially with Skylar Thompson, because he's just a safety valve and he's so calm. And what he does in the huddle for that team, it'll just calm everybody down. But Teron's the anchor, and he's got to go, and you hope that he can go for as long as he can. And then, we'll see what Skylar can do.
Yeah, man, I agree. Listen, I know you're a busy man. We appreciate you coming on with us and giving us. Hey, come on, man.
Oh,
we have company here, man. Come on.
Wow.
Man, it's people. No, that's why we do it. I mean, I wish I had some like groundbreaking stuff to tell you guys about this team. But I mean, this is kind of put up or shut up time. I mean, we know Stephen Ross is getting older, and obviously things happen, and there's a lot that's out of your control. But you look at the season, you have the Tyreek thing happen, and then you have Tua week 2, and now it's like, what the is going to happen week 3? What is it? Like, what's going on?
Where's this other shoe going to drop?
Yeah, and it's like, do I put all my eggs into the Cam Ward Miami basket and hope that they win the ACC?
Oh my God.
But see, that's the reaction you get. But yeah, I mean, this is everything was set up for the Dolphins on paper this year, and it's just, man, it's just heartbreaking.
Listen, I'm a firm believer that there's always trial by fire, and there's a reason why things happen. So I don't want to get too superstitious or too crazy, but I want to keep it. I want to try to keep it positive.
But say this team gets to 10 wins and somehow backdoors themselves into the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're healthy at the right time. I mean, what a story that would be, especially if Tua comes back even
and wins the playoff game.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what we're gonna do. I promise you, that's gonna happen. I don't care what anybody says. You could derail. Yeah. I'd rather have these injuries in the beginning, but I feel like if you watch the Avengers after week 8, we're gonna get like some type of Avengers. Think about it. You get an OBJ, you get Tua, you get Chubbs. You got to make it. You do have a tough decision to make because now you have to use you can only get 2 guys out the IR, which put you in a predicament with Cam Smith and Craycraft. But you're gonna get better. All you gotta do is hold the water. So
exactly, that's what we were talking about. If you can get to 3-3, and you're in the mix, and I don't know if anybody's beating the Bills. I just in the division, I just don't know. I mean, this is the year to do it. You lose Stephon Diggs. You have no bona fide number 1 receiver. I know that you took Coleman out of FSU, but he ain't it. And then they feast with. It was just a disappointing game, and then just Tua just throws fire on it. I think it's, I want to say, 11 of the last 12, so it's 12 out of the last 13 that the Bills have won.
At some point, that's got to break, man.
Yeah, and then the Tua game where Tua played through it. Those are the only 2.
Yeah, I know. Listen, we'll just get one game at a time. We'll get that dub on Sunday, and then we'll
we'll talk next. Yeah, we get a dub. We got to talk next week. Figure this thing out. And all of a sudden,
we will.
Like, we're back in it.
We're back, baby.
Yeah.
All right, Josh, man. We appreciate you, man.
Right,
I'll talk to you in the back channels. Thank you, brother.
You got it.
For your time,
all right, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Hey, man.
Let's get to it, man.
Josh is a great guy, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm not in that mode, which is questions whether Tua's coming back. I know Tua's coming back. Like they're not moving like Tua's not coming back. The fact that you put him on the IR easily gives you 2 weeks to be in the concussion protocol, come out of concussion protocol, and then those 2 weeks he'll be fine. So he doesn't even have to do the 21 days in the IR. You don't have to. You have 21 days, but you don't have to. You just be fine. So I think the team's gonna get better. You're gonna add more players. What is this guy saying? The team's gonna get better. You do get Chubbs. You do get OBJ. This roster has to. These guys have to do it for Tua. If nothing else, do it for Tua. Make that kid want to come back for a reason. If you're saying make him come back for a reason, make him come back to a winning team. Because like Josh said, if they're 1-3, why are you coming back to a losing
What's the
team?
point? Yeah. The only thing that I say is that I temper my excitement or my anticipation for it is because he's not out of the woods yet. So I don't want to. Personally, people can do what they want, but I personally don't want to get too excited. And then something happens, and they say, "Oh no, you're not cleared," or "We saw this on an MRI or a DTI." And, anything could happen, man. So right now it's trending that way, but you just never know. You never know what the doctors are going to say. So we'll see. Right now, there's games to be played. So Mike's going to have to earn his money for sure.
Yeah, man, that's why we extended you because you are the innovator. You have gone through so much adversity in these last 2 years, and now adversity is already striking you in the ass. So I think it's important that he figures things out. I like what Josh Moser said. I do think that if Skylar does struggle a little bit, you can see Huntley come in, or they might incorporate Huntley a little bit in some of the offense. I did like that idea that Chad kind of mentioned that before when we were talking. So I wonder. I do think they have confidence in Skylar. Um, I do believe they feel like with continuity and learning behind Tua that he will get the job done. But I do think to kind of get a spark and to make it different, I can see Huntley being a part of the offense this coming Sunday.
Yeah, I think there's a chance he gets involved. I'm not banking on it. I think it'll kind of be depending on the game flow. I'm not sure what the game plan will be. I'm hoping they do what the Packers did and run it 50 plus times and maybe have Skylar throw it about 15 times and that's it. And then in that case, maybe you do have a little RPO package or something that you incorporate. We talked about guys like Easy. You got rid of Chosen, so maybe he's the guy that maybe gets elevated now and gets incorporated in some Debo-esque type, jet sweeps and things like that. Or maybe
Possibly,
you can
yeah.
get creative. Now's the time. Now, what ain't got nothing else to lose. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? So going into this game with the Seahawks coach, you have that graphic queued up. Yes, sir. So yeah, man. Look, if you're looking at this matchup, like there's a lot of things that we can take advantage of.
Hold on.
Um,
Go ahead.
Yeah. So like I was watching the game this past week, and Jacoby Brissett, he made a lot of plays, man, and he's not a guy who is world renowned for his QB acumen. You know what I'm saying? We know who Brisket is. You know what I mean? We've had him here. He's a guy who it's kind of meh. You know what I mean? But they were moving the football. Antonio Gibson had a ton of success on the ground. You know what I mean? Keon White was extremely disruptive. The Seahawks have a lot of questions on the offensive line, just like we do along the interior. Outside of Charles Cross, everyone's in flux. Even Connor Williams is struggling right now. We know he's probably working his way back from injury, so that's probably playing into it. But on the interior, they're having some struggles, man. So Lakin Tomlinson, I believe, was benched. They're going through some things, so we could take advantage of that. Calais Campbell and Sealer up the middle. You know what I mean? Some chop. You know what I mean? We can do some things where I think this is a game where Chop can get his first sack on the board against this type of team. And I think you unleash the dogs on them. Like, we ain't got nothing to lose. I think you go, excuse the expression, balls to the wall and get it and just, do all you can to try to win this. Pause. Like,
Yeah,
you got nothing to
I,
lose. You got
I'm
nothing to
with you.
lose.
I'm with you. Yeah, man. Let the kids be kids. Let them find out who you got. Find out who you don't got. Find out who you can take to war with you. You feel me? Like, what you got nothing to lose? You don't. You playing with house money. Get your
I
dogs
do
out
got
there, man.
I got a question, and I've been trying to hold out on talking about the offensive line on the timeline on Twitter because at that everybody has different perspective, but it's like for me, it's just a bunch of different thoughts and opinions, and I feel like no one's really looking deep into it. So it feels like Robert Jones might not play based on what Josh was saying. Um, Cotton is going to be there. I feel like this is the type of Packers game that I think we need to be doing. Running the ball, running more inside zones, running more power gap. Because I think guys like Cotton cannot easily get to what the landmarks needed to run more outside zone, at least on that left side. What are your thoughts on that overall for you guys? Do you feel like we need to focus in more certain run schemes for this offense? I mean, I don't know if Robert Jones will play, but I just feel like we need to focus more on what's the personnel we have. What are they best at, as opposed to just running it as thinking that they're gonna do what they need to do, which they can't.
I mean, I think you come out some 2 tight end sets. You get Ingold in the running game. You get Julian Hill involved in the running game, and just go to work, man. Keep it simple. I think you still do everything you can. I don't know if you should limit yourself to more inside or duo or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. Like, but I just think that like there's opportunities. It's what I've seen specifically on the outside and on the edges against the Seahawks. So that plays into our favor, I believe. And they're on the flip side, they're struggling to run the ball. Kenneth Walker's battling injury. I'm not sure if he'll be available this week.
He's
But
out.
I mean, they're struggling. Yeah, they're struggling to run the football, and they're struggling to stop the football. You know what I mean? Like stop the run, I should say. You know what I mean? So there's opportunities for us here. You know what I mean? There's some holes on the offensive line. You know what I mean? Their passing defense is cool. You know what I mean? You know, we know what they got in Devin Witherspoon and you know what I mean, and things like that. So like they're a talented team. You know, and Tyreek Woolen, yeah, they're talented, man. So I mean, I think this is a game where you run the football. You don't really want to throw to Devin Witherspoon and Tyreek Woolen like with Skyler. So
I'm not scared of the team. I think we even without Tua, we fare well. So I think is where I'm worried is Tyler Lockett. I don't trust our slot. I do not trust Kader Cole. So that's a matchup they can take advantage of. That's the matchup that the Bills took advantage of. The Jacksonville Jaguars took advantage of. Is because that's what they're doing. That's what they're doing. And if our players don't play football together and they play like Jalen Ramsey's playing terrible football. He's playing hero ball. And I think they need to like now maybe they could hone in their skill set and start playing hero ball and play for each other because they lost one of their soldiers. Maybe they get it back together because they
just do your job, man.
Yeah, bro. Stop being crazy. David Long has been having a terrible. He's not helping Jordan Brooks. Jordan Brooks had a whale of a game, and David Long just making bad plays. So I think, like I said earlier, my only concern is discipline in the slot. I think, like you said, you cut loose Jalen Phillips, you cut loose what's his name, Chopped, and I see those 10 days give a guy really good help, like Jalen Phillips off injury. So I want to see what's up.
I think this could be an important period, a stretch of games for Mike McDaniel's growth as a coach. He has an opportunity to kind of develop and he's put in a situation in which, you know what I mean, he's been in before. He has another chance to go at it. You know what I mean? Skyler's not being thrust out there. Hopefully we're not in a situation where Skyler's knocked out of the game or something like that and we're bringing in someone else like how it was the last time where we can get some continuity going. But this is a great opportunity for him. He's always talking about the adversities and opportunity stuff. Like, yo, put your money where your mouth is. You're always talking the adversities and opportunity stuff. Show us. Talk is cheap, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, you got the cool clothes and the cool shoes and the shades, and you're quirky and you got all the cool jokes. But like, bro, you're always talking like your main thing you're always talking about is adversities and opportunity. Now your back's against the wall. Show us. Tua's out. I don't want to hear season's over, bro. It's too much invested. It's 24 years. You've been having the meetings at 24 all off season. You know what's at stake.
The Niners
Let's go. Browns did it. A lot of teams did it with the backups, man.
If we got isn't Chris Greer supposed to be a great? Don't we out here giving Chris Greer all his credit? Didn't we say this is the best roster we've had, the best coaching staff? So listen, if you have the best roster, the best everything, one guy falling off, next man up mentality. Let's go. Next man up, do your job.
I think from a coach's perspective, I think that Mike has to evolve. And that's one of the things that I had said. I know you guys saw it back in our group chat. I'm laser focused on him this week because I want to see how he adjusts. If he's going to be stubborn and really, do what he thinks that he can do with regardless of the quarterback that's in there. Like, I think that you, as a great coach, you have to adapt to your personnel, not the other way around. You have to play to your players' strengths. And right now, I mean, if we're being honest, and we're looking at these stats, how they compare, we could exploit their run defense with the stable of 3 running backs that we have now. Now the question is, will Mike do it and stick to it? That's the question.
And another question is, how would he approach the run? Because that's going to probably be expected, right? Even if it's expected, you still don't want to overthink things because, yes, you can surprise, but you got to make sure when you're throwing the ball with Skylar that he is doing something that's comfortable, that he's comfortable, like that he likes, not something that you would do with Tua because Tua is so advanced in the system and understands different things. Skylar struggles with that. So even if you do try to do the opposite of what is expected, just make sure you do something that's in the comfortability in the realm of what Skylar can do. But other than that, don't let the fear of them knowing that you're running the ball scares you away from running the ball. Just run the ball. Figure out when they put more men in the box, how do you stack up the numbers versus the blocking numbers and see what hole or what area a running back can go to get that big gain or maybe even a touchdown. So I hope that Mike McDaniel doesn't shy away from moving from the running game just because he knows that they're expecting or show a look of expecting to run the ball.
Look, I watched the Merrill Hodge interview with Josh, and I love the hat that he had on. It said "Find a way."
Yep.
That to me is the mantra for this period that we're in right now. You don't have Tua. I get it. You got some guys banged up. You don't have all your horses. Find a way. Find a way to get it done. It don't gotta be pretty. We could win 6-3.
We already had that happen
mean?
once.
Bro, just muddy it up.
Just win
Play
game,
defense and just win, bro. Like, just find a way to squeak out a couple of wins. If you can squeak out 3 wins, God forbid, and then let's just say best case scenario, we don't know what's happening with Tua, but he comes back and you get all these pieces back that we're alluding to, or Wally was talking about. You get the OBJ, the Chubbs, the Craycraft, and Cam, and everybody just comes back, bro. At that point in time, like, I get now why everyone feels how they feel. It's like, oh man, here we go again.
It's brand new. We haven't played a game,
but it just usually is happening to us at the end of the season. What if we could get to the same spot and we can make a run? We end up still 8-3, 9-3, but now
we flip it.
Everyone's coming back healthy, opposed to everyone going out.
Like, you know, my man said,
we're getting a little too fluffy here, guys.
Don't get fluffed out. Don't get fluffed out.
But this is the reality of the situation. Like, look at the timeline and look how it's lining up. It's lining up for us to get all of our horses back after the bye. If we can get by through the bye, get by to the bye.
Bars. You're not even a rapper.
I'm just saying, like, bro,
but
it's
look,
there.
It's like, but think about it. Think about the reinforcements you're getting. You're getting a Bradley Chubb. You're getting an Isaiah Wynn. You're getting Tua back. Come on, man. You're getting OBJ. And hold on, you got to make a decision whether it's Craycraft or Cam Smith. And I'm more leaning towards right now. It's probably gonna be a Craycraft. But you never know if you want to bring Cam Smith and Kenny Cole who hasn't played up.
Hey, and another person,
you can bring them back.
No, you only bring 2.
No, there's only 2 that you can take onto the initial, but during the course of the season, we have
what?
8 that we can bring back.
We bite.
Yeah.
We bite.
Yeah.
Every game of league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
dog,
look.
Come on, man. Hey, look, I'm just saying you gotta hold water, bro. You gotta hold water, and we discussed about the timeline. If we get there by Arizona and we still hunting for a wild card and potentially, you know what I'm saying? Because you think about it, we did say 10 or 12 wins gets the division. The NFL is going to be a rigged. You see it. Look at we're not the only ones being injured, by the way.
No. Yes, that's correct.
A lot of teams, there's a lot of games that we had. Look, the Bengals just lost a game to the Patriots. That's a win or a loss that was not accounted, not even in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, even us losing to Buffalo, that's common. They expected that.
Look what's going on in with the Rams, and look at the Niners too. Like
they had a bunch of
Niners.
Yeah. Look, the Patriots lost their key linebacker. I think
who's the quarterback?
Juwan Bentley went out. Yep. Who you talking about, Wally?
Look at the Panthers. The Panthers bench Bryce Young.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, man.
It's far from ideal, and I get that. But like we talked about how like this being a player-led team, and you have all these veteran leaders and all these star players that like these guys got to step up in this time where they got to be accountable and they got to push us and carry us through this time. And like we talked about, adversity is going to hit. We know that as Miami Dolphins fans. There's never a time where we're not having to deal with adversity. It's what we do.
I'll tell you what, in all the years that I've obviously I'm old, so I've been a fan for a while, but I've never had this happen now. It's always at the end of the season. So
middle of the season.
Right. So I mean, I know that I'm trying to be too fluff and see the silver lining in it, but I mean, what other choice do you have? Either you can be negative about it and complain about Chris Greer and the offensive line every day, and curse out Chris Greer, on social media all day, or criticize the offensive line when you really don't know what you're looking at, or you can try to be positive about it as a fan and try to enjoy it as much as you can. Is this ideal? No. Does it suck? Yes. But you know damn well you're going to still watch the games on Sunday, and you're going to root for them on Sunday.
Not really. If you end up with a playoff win, who cares? Who the hell cares? It don't gotta look good when you're making the win, but once you get that play hit, woo, we ain't gonna remember none of that. So it don't gotta look pretty, bro. You can have your 2 questions, that's fine, and that's you're entitled to that. But if you're here for the team, it don't matter what the name of the back of that jersey is. So if we get a playoff win, we good, bro. And I'm sorry, bro. If Tua comes back and gets a playoff win, you can't say nothing.
Yeah. Hey, we got a question from MA. I don't know about Malik Washington. I think with Chosen being out, to me, being cut, I think there's a chance that he could be back, or they may elevate Easy. One of the two things is what I was thinking.
Either way, it still points to Malik getting better, because you still would have kept Chosen around. You would have kept Chosen around just for an emergency. You would keep him.
I don't know, Trey. I don't know about Huntley not playing a single snap. I don't know. They might put him in on a 2-point conversion or a goal line. They might do something.
I just think the wild card with Achon and Jaden Wright and Jonu. I think they have to. He has to have at least 6 plays right now, even if it's just handing the ball off, and he could throw a pass. I don't know. Look. I'm not.
Ebola, I'm with you.
If
that's pretty good, Chad.
If we get Claypool this much, why not give a guy that actually has done it and is a runner? We're not asking him to reinvent the wheel, run crazy routes, just run a ball. It's gonna be a run. It's gonna be a run when he's not gonna throw a pass. Maybe he can make a read a dump off pass to a John, who is a screenplay, to a Smythe is a screenplay, to Archon is a screenplay, so Tyreek is a screenplay. You're overthinking long, deep plays. We're not playing that game no more.
Yeah, we need to turn them into like possession chain movers.
Yeah,
you gotta
get out of that.
Flip it.
Yeah, you gotta get out of that.
So he's got a couple shots. You can take a couple shots.
Yeah, but you have to stretch the field.
But you gotta get away from it. He's got Hill 6. Yo, we gotta make him believe that play action is gonna open up. He's got Hill.
Wally. So I know you're gonna understand this. This is small ball. We gotta play small ball.
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving the runners over, a little bunt here and there, a little slap. You slap base hit into opposite field. That's what we got to do. We're not worried about exactly. Back to basics. Get everything down. Like I said earlier, you could get 6 guys on the offensive line and pound that rock. We have 3 guys. We have 3 guys that legitimately can run the ball effectively. Just and that's their weakness. I do it until they stop you from doing it.
Bro,
that's just me.
You won't even believe me, but I'll start Huntley and just run the ball with him.
Patrick Paul. I'm throwing Patrick Paul out there too, personally.
Yes,
need that big body. Let's move some people.
Exactly.
The line of scrimmage. Let's create some holes and some lanes for our running game.
What did we talk about? We talked about him having a group of plays. Bring him in, and they should put on my next to Tista. See, Tista has a little injury. Put them right next to each other. Boom. What you gonna
That's
do?
nasty.
And then slide and go to the right side and protect Austin. And boom, let's go and hand the ball off and get 4 yards.
What I will say, and I'm sorry to jump in like this. The only thing I want to see is how we bring in the play calls for offense, because that's still kind of been a little bit of an issue. So hoping that we can get that resolved with simpler play calling, even if it's just running the ball left or right. So hopefully that is not an issue moving forward as we try to manage to win at the very least 2 games. So that's something to look forward to look at this coming Sunday.
You got to take the crowd out of it, man, and make it a lot easier for yourself. Because if it's loud and it gets crazy, and it's only going to complicate the things with the backup. Like, yo, I'm pulling out all the stops. I might have Tyreek and Waddle on the opening kickoff out there. Like,
he's a first-time head coach, man. You gotta take advantage of these things too, man.
I might listen. I'm going out there. I'm putting out all the stuff. I'm doing my best to take the crowd out of it because I feel like that's going to be your best opportunity.
Deflate them. You deflate them, and then hopefully it'll be at least in the atmosphere where you can communicate. You know what I mean? And then we can just.
This is the Jalen Ramsey game. He's in a
Javon Holland.
DK Metcalf all over the place. Javon Holland here back home.
And let's not forget, this is Jordan Brooks' first time.
Yeah.
Playing back in Seattle.
Yeah.
Jordan Brooks. I mean, we can say the same thing with Baker, but whatever. Like, you know,
whatever.
Yeah.
Final thoughts. Final thoughts, man.
Look, so man. Find a way to get it done, dog. That's where I'm at, man. Find a way to get it done. I'm tired of excuses. I don't want to hear no context. Listen, I'm tired of all the crying and the bitching and the moaning on the timeline. Like, pull your like get it together, man. Like, get it together. Let's ride. Let's go. I get it. It's not ideal. This is what we do, man. For at least the real ones. You know what I mean? Like this ain't the time to waver. The team needs us. They need our support. This ain't the time to be shaky warriors, man. We got a segment for y'all. We for all your shaky warriors out there coming up too, man. Tease that, but this ain't the time for that, man.
Shaky warrior,
solid, man.
Don't get caught. Don't get caught. Man. Don't get caught on the timeline because you're gonna be featured on the show.
Hey! Just know you've been bookmarked, shaky warriors. But hey, man, to piggyback off my man's great points, man. It's not what we signed up for. I know. And as a Dolphin fan, the meme that says that you have whoever you believe in, and you ask them the question, "Why do you give me the toughest battles?" and they reply, "You're still alive." As a Dolphin fan, that's really us. I understand, but just like Ben said, we lived in the dark. So if we're in a dark place, we're comfortable here. Let's make the best of it. Stop crying. You're embarrassing yourself. You're keeping yourself from enjoying a good day. We have a good team. You believe in a good team. If you believe that Tua was so great, I understand that. You also said that we had a good roster. Two things can be true at the same time. So you can hold down a fort for 4 or 5 games, baby, and he'll be back. Trust me, he'll be back. And when he comes back, he ain't leaving. Trust that.
Yeah, the O-line struggling a little bit. But you know what? Run the football. Coach, you can bleep that out. Coach, you got to bleep that. Run the football. This team is showing strength in the running game. You have Lester Cotton coming in. That's a strength of his. Big body. You got Brewer. His strength of his is what? Run game. You know what I'm saying? Like, Eichenberg's out there. He's actually not playing bad. Like, right now, like, bro, these guys should be ashamed of themselves that they're getting outplayed by Liam Eichenberg. No shade to Liam. He's doing his thing, so it is what it is.
Wow.
But, like, bro, hey, we got to give credit where credit's due because people ain't stepping up right now.
Liam, man.
Like, let's be real.
What we doing, mechanic?
This ain't the time to listen. This ain't the time to try to throw blame and throw shade and I was right and try to take victory laps. Man, let's pull it together, bro, and let's get it done, bro.
That's that's been one of the most annoying. That's been one of the most annoying things that I've seen all week since I guess Thursday or Friday or whatever since the game. Are the victory laps like really? I mean, you really think you're clicking with that? Yeah, I don't even understand that. Why?
Everybody's agree with this. I told you the offensive line was this.
Mother.
Yeah, it's
Man.
been very frustrating. But that's why I said I can't talk to everybody about specific positions because at the end of the day,
Oh,
when you talk to people, it's
Mhm.
like, what are you looking at and stuff like that. It's just the conversation feels like it's too emotional than rational. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother talking to. But I do have one thing I want to ask. We did sign Carmen from the
Yeah.
Bengals.
Right.
The kid
Offensive
from
lineman, yes.
Clemson. Yeah, drafted in 2021 in the second round, actually. It looked like he was in the practice squad for them, I believe. I don't know, but or he got cut, but he's a tackle, played guard for the Bengals. Played guard in 2021 as a rookie. Played on both sides. Seemed like he's more of a jag average player. I think that's what the team was looking for. See if they can
We said the
develop
same
a
about
guy.
Harlow, no? Harlow was
Yeah.
another Jag. You know what I mean? Kendall Lamb was a Jag. Brandon Shell was a Jag. These guys came
Mm-hmm.
in and they helped solidify things. You know what I mean? So he's a guy that has some talent. I think you kick him inside, you maybe take away some of those faults at tackle, and then maybe you got something at left guard. I think you
Yeah.
might have to have him active this week if Robert Jones can't go because I don't know if you have enough guards.
I agree. I think he's shown as a rookie. He had some pretty good games as a guard, like more games where he played really good, like in the 79s, 77 per PFF, 71. His highest grading was at 87.2 against the Detroit Lions. But I mean, as a rookie,
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? So I think that's something there. Hopefully he can work out. Hopefully they say he's very strong, very aggressive. Chad, that's what you've been looking for, right? That type of that type of lineman. Just his hand placing and timing and his punches is a little too inconsistent, and he plays too high. So if Butch Berry can mold him, possibly can compete, who knows what he can become. So I hope he works out. I actually like the signing. I want to see what he can do. But yeah, I just wanted to
we'll
point that out
see.
with him.
We'll
Yeah.
see. I mean, there's some upside there. Well, I mean, I think that at least he can solidify the depth. I mean, just being real. Like, I mean, I don't think that's too much to say. Like, hey,
Yeah.
come in and be a solid backup, and when we need you and your numbers called, just don't be a liability.
Facts.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. I mean, you're not gonna find a savior now. Nobody's gonna, it's not out there right now. So people got to give that up.
Yeah. It's just the constant complaining. And I get it. You know, some things that Greer has done and the coaches have decided it's kind of you know, paying off at the wrong footing, but it's so early in the season. I would just love for our fan base to just give us the time. It's okay to address and put the situation of what's going on out there because we can all agree they didn't do enough. We can all agree they were too content on offensive line play, and they brought in guys yet again that are injury prone that are not reliable. But we want to give them a chance to see if they can fix it from this point forward because we've dealt with this situation with offensive line with Coach Mike McDaniel and this regime for 2 years, and it resulted playoff. It resulted a winning record. It resulted a top ranked offense. So can they do something like that again? Can it improve? Can any of those other guys improve? So it's a lot of questions that they need to answer, and it starts this Sunday.
Yeah, it's too early. You start reading a book. We're only like in the first or second chapter of the book. Let's read
Yeah,
a little bit
man.
more into it and see, what happens.
these people don't read. They don't read. Don't say that.
Bro, I think it's more so like I don't think it's a talent deficiency issue because like a lot of these teams have talent deficiencies all around the league. I just think it's the play calling, the timing of it all. You're allowing guys to kind of key off on certain things. Like I think we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage, just kind of highlighting some of those deficiencies, opposed to doing our best to minimize it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we need to Mike needs to work on kind of going forward. I know he had his vision and expectations, but listen, when things don't work out, you can't just keep, you got to go with the flow, man. Like you you got to be flexible in that regard. Paul's like, just you can't just be stuck on wanting to push the ball and you want to score fast and do, like, you got to have patience, and like it's a long season, and like how you have patience with, you know, slow playing guys with injuries. You need to have slow patience during the course of the games and take what's there 3-4 yards at the time if you have to, the entirety of the game, bro. Like, it don't gotta be super flashy and splashy with 100,000 motions. And like, I get it, you know what I'm saying? It's nice when they're highlighting you on ESPN and all this good stuff, but like, I think at some point, man, we got to just get back to playing football, man. And I just want to close the show with that, man. Like, let's just play ball, yo. Let's dumb it down a little bit, not too much where it's putting the team at a disadvantage, but let's dumb it down and let's just execute. I think things are too complicated right now, unnecessarily.
Yeah, one last comment from our viewers right now. Que voila. I agree with Wally. Nothing to lose. See who you got. If you can hold it down for a few games, it can make moves before a trade deadline to cut dead weight and bolster the roster with backups or whatever position they may need at the time. So yes, again, we agree with that. It takes time. On that note, let's get a little message from our sponsor.
You see, I've always believed.
Okay, gonna
15 following the penalty. Tua swings it out. Speaking of fast, how about Tyreek Hill?
You see, I've always believed.
Hill inside the 20 and then finally chased down.
Oh, yeah.
He's 12 of 16.
If you don't give it,
Lay on the block. Go, he's got him. He's got him. And they got a touchdown. Holy smoked him.
you see, I've always believed.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
When them boys, when your boys, I know everybody in the group chat right now getting made fun of. They talking about Tua. You listen. Keep your head up high, big dog. You gonna be laughing at the end, big dog. Trust me and believe me. You heard?
We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
You gonna be all right.
Listen, man. Make sure. First of all, let me thank everybody that tuned in today. It was great for you to join us tonight with Josh. Special thanks to Josh. Special thanks to everybody that tuned in. We'll have more stuff tomorrow from the 5 Reasons Network with Alf Arteaga. He's going to be joining us and breaking down this matchup with the Seattle Seahawks. It's going to be great. We got Prize Picks on deck. Make sure you jump on there. $5 will get you 50. No commitments. Make your money. Anything on the store, Chad?
Hey, man, new merch. We got the Tyreek Hill peace sign shirts. We got the No Justice, No Peace shirts, new shorts, the Windbreaker 72, perfect windbreaker. Man, check us out, man. Check us out, man.
Fins up, baby.
Man.